We'll call the meeting to order. I'd make a motion to adopt the agenda as well.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is Mike
Oh,
not
I
here?
liked it, that was different. I thought you meant we all should do it at the same time.
Mike's not here, so I gotta start first.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
I thought
I
we
was
were
just
doing it
like,
all at the same time
I could,
tonight.
I was trying to figure out behind the pillar if he was there.
I know.
Oh my, okay, no delegation.
No.
Correspondence, we did get a letter from Sandy Rowe. It's a pretty lengthy one, so I'll send it around, but it's to the USD 420 school board, thanking us for keeping the school open for the year and so forth, so on, thanking the teachers, administration and so forth. Treasurer's report.
Okay. Move on back. So under the general tab or the general column, you see we did get some state money on May 4th, $307,000. Got some student teachers infant stipend money that goes from Emporia State that goes to those teachers. We got some state of Kansas money down at the bottom on 527. Food service money from the state, $41,000. Capital outlay balance at the bottom does not have out the bleachers. So if you took out the bleachers, it'd be $679. On the second page of the treasurer's report, noteworthy, we got some the ESSER 1 money on, if you see that column of ESSER 1, we spent the rest of that money. I think that was on, the majority, that amount went to Chromebooks, I believe. That's really all I saw on that page.
So that's a balance out now, right?
Yeah, we have
Does that show a negative balance in there?
on what, ESSER?
Oh, yes, at the bottom of that page.
Shouldn't be.
The balance forward is negative, but then it positives by the end of the month.
Yeah, we spent the rest of it, I think. Well, it can go negative until you get the money, yeah. So petty cash, elementary needs $178.54, middle school needs $60.30, high school needs $180.66. I'm gonna go to the payment of bills. Wasn't a lot of noteworthy. We're starting to get into a lot of our end of the year stuff. The one if you get down to the very bottom there on the first page, there's a new camera for the journalism department. Second page, I didn't really highlight anything there. Let's see. Make sure. Yeah, I didn't see anything that on the second page to really talk about. Third page, KSB compensation fund, workers' comp. That's $17,740 to KSB. On that, that's a yearly deal.
I was gonna say annual.
So we, at the very bottom of that page, you'll notice we got some teacher laptops coming. That was, again, that's from ESSER 2. Page 4, Midwest laser leveling. Football field looks in pretty good shape right now. They've done a great job of maintaining. I think the last time they were here, they aerated and sprayed for weeds and it looks good. There's no weeds. It's a plush carpet right now. Schweikert's, that's the roofing company that came in, and that first expense down there is for inspection report that they gave us. And the second expense is for some initial maintenance, and they're gonna continue to do some more maintenance on the roof, and that's the entire roof complex.
Not just one.
Yeah. The page 5, I had the Three Lakes flow through, and that's really all I highlighted, unless you have some other questions I didn't see.
some of this the like teacher requisition stuff? or
Yeah,
is that
a lot of
separate?
that is. A lot of it's teacher requisitions at the end of the year.
So as we go through requisitions, are we thinking about kind of flow through ESSER funding, or is it typically like based on what they're asking for? It's
Yeah,
not
I mean,
through.
it's kind of hard to include that in ESSER funding because of the way we're having to require it now. I mean, the way we have to draw it down is pretty tough to do that. You can't just put a lot of little bitty items in you can do certain things but we did summer school, we did we did a Saxon program, a reading program, but you have to kind of put chunks. You can't put just a bunch of little miscellaneous things. But you can put, they got all the two, you gotta be able to say how they are COVID related.
Right.
So that's what makes that more difficult. Addendums.
Quick question, Troy.
Yes,
What do we get? We got laptops for the teachers and Chromebooks for the students, or those are two?
those came out of ESSER funds. Yep. Different ones. I think
Yep.
ESSER 1 was Chromebooks, ESSER 2 we are getting teacher laptops, I believe. Yeah. On the addendums, we got about 23.48% left in the general. The month left, we'll have to spend that all down. And also in the LOB, we got about 50.81, which we'll have to spend down. So it'll be a busy month. Any other questions on that?
Anybody got any questions? Alright, I would make the motion, we adopt the minutes of the regular board meeting of May 12th, 2021. Approve the treasurer's report as of May 31st, 2021. Petty cash report for the elementary school of $178.54, the middle school of $60.30, the high school of $180.66, and payment of the bills in the amount of $362,392.40 for June 9th, 2021, and May payroll in the amount of $456,479.03.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hi. Hi.
Aye.
I was on the ball, man. I was
I
on the
know,
ball.
you were.
You're ready. Old business.
Have any?
We are creatures of habit.
No old business.
New business.
New business, discussion, we do have, I think we need to visit about this as a board. We have summer school starting, as we ended the year, we with graduations, we went with mask recommended, not required. Talking to county, I think Dina, you called over with summer school, and that was kind of her recommendation too, I think.
Right, she said that if the faculty was vaccinated, they didn't have to wear masks, but it was highly recommended that the students wear masks if they were indoors and could not be socially distant,
But not required.
but not required.
So, one thing I wanna mention on the ESSER 3 funding, I'm not exactly sure. They haven't even started to go down that path with KSDE, but I did sit in on a pretty lengthy, webinar, like a Zoom meeting, to find out some more information, on certain things with that, and they got into ESSER 3, and this was they talked about, looked like a pretty in-depth process of getting into the ESSER 3. I don't know what that's gonna look like from the State Department yet, but I just wanna put it out there that I'm not sure what requirements we'll have with all of these CDC and different things to draw that money. But there may be some things in there, so I wanted to throw that out there. So I don't know if the board wants to have some input on summer school or with weights and conditioning. They've been outside a good portion of the time. We have not mandated masks at all for that. And we weren't doing it with athletics anyway before that, so I don't know if the board wants to have any discussion on that, or
Does the administration have a recommendation on that?
For summer school, I don't know if I do or not. I think,
My recommendation for the high school, our groups are gonna be small enough that anybody that feels like that they need to wear a face mask could.
we're not,
But I wouldn't absolutely make them wear one coming in the door, but
I think,
unless you feel like it's necessary.
I think we wouldn't have enough people in summer school as far as kids in a room to say we couldn't social distance. But
We
that's
definitely
not,
will be able to.
that's not to say that we will social distance.
So, Monday, Emporia State University has officially ended all coronavirus measures, which includes masks, no more face masks, no more social distancing, no more extra disinfection. Also, when I talked to Jackie, she says it's done and it's gonna be, if an outbreak happened, then you would have the ability to go change it, but there's nothing left with mandates anywhere in the state other than a federal building, federal court building. I know the county hasn't got anything, the school district, we've opened everything up, we had a graduation with no mask, we've had everything with no mask.
I would doubt that the people in the gym over there probably are wearing a mask.
They're playing basketball, yeah, wherever they're at, they're
We
not
haven't-
wearing masks,
We
so.
haven't mandated anything with the athletics.
See any need for it. I don't see any need for the mask.
I agree, and I mean, if we need to make a motion, I would make that, I'd make a motion that we officially end the mandates effective immediately and we don't require masks for summer school, and as of this time, we would not require masks for the 21-22 school session, so people know that in advance.
I mean, just to the rest of the administration, have teachers said anything, or are they worried about enforcing, or just
Yeah.
like they're done?
Done. My staff was like, what, we've gotta wear masks? So they did not wanna wear masks, and part of the problem is too, is that a lot of what we're doing is reading. So when the kids read, it's gonna be very hard, and phonics, working with phonics, it's gonna be very challenging for them to see what they're doing through the mask. I mean, that was a challenge this school year to do that, so they would rather not wear masks.
And I think the only caution I would say is if there was a positive case or something that came up, then
You
we
would
would
have
have
to
to either quarantine or cease and not have summer school, or start wearing masks again.
I think in that case, the case would probably come from somewhere outside of the school and they'd bring it in here, but
Oh,
I mean, they're not wearing masks outside of here, and unless you're gonna go to their house and make them put on a mask, I don't know how we can do it here either.
We still have a motion on the floor.
The motion is that we officially end the mask mandate effective immediately.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries.
Okay.
And you can hear the crowd outside
Roaring.
at home.
Hopefully we
Cheering.
get back to some kind of normalcy if that's.
I'm just
if
so
that's
proud
normal.
of
What is
everybody this
normal
last
anymore?
year. I mean, it's great.
Band trip update?
Mr. Nicholas, you're up.
Alrighty. Gonna go ahead and pass out this itinerary for everybody real fast.
Thank you, Brody.
Is this moved by chance?
Yeah.
Yeah, and just set it on the table there.
Just step on that.
Turtle head.
Step over and trip.
That's good. What's this from?
Here we go. Thanks.
Hey, we wanna talk about good with details, we're on first class air conditioned TV.
That was, that
I wanna
was,
sign up.
that was the tour accompaniment with that, so, hello everyone, my name is Mr. Nicholas, I'm the new band director here at Osage City. When I got the job in here initially, I was forewarned that we were having a trip come up for every 3 years. Me and my band booster program have been doing a lot of thinking about the destinations that we would wanna go, especially since they went to Nashville, it was 3 years ago with Mr. Rathert. We had decided that we believe we would wanna go to Oklahoma City and Dallas, just right south of us. we believe that this is gonna be a great incentive program for the elementary kids, middle school kids coming into high school, as well as a good opportunity to play in different destinations throughout the United States, just like they did at the Grand Ole Opry at Nashville. As Mr. Bailey had said, yes, we do get this awesome air-conditioned bus that is provided through this educational tour company. We have two parts here. We have the itinerary front and back on the first 2 pages, and on the very back sheet is a chart for how much the trip would cost for each student based off of hotel roomings. The top one, the quad rooms, is what we're hoping to go for, and this is all provided by the students, and they are aware of this. Right now, we've been working with our Root Beer Float fundraisers, and we actually just had a fundraiser down at the 4-H building for I don't remember what it was. My band boosters held it, but it was a very big success. So if you don't mind, I would like to run you through this a little bit. Starting at the very front, we would leave on Thursday, March 10th, 2 days before spring break is officially started. Now, I know that that may be a concern for some of you. I want to assure you that I will make my band students aware that they are to have their work in, all their finals work in, that Wednesday before spring break. We would leave at 5 o'clock in the morning, and we would make our first stop at the Oklahoma City Bombing Memorial with our tour manager at the Penn Square Mall for lunch, and then head to the Bombing Memorial. I've been to the Bombing Memorial, and I believe that it's a very, very important trip destination for our students. Some of them didn't even know what it was, so I think that it would be very educational for them to go. And it also offers us a chance for a performance venue as well. After we got done performing, we would take the rest of that time to look at the Hope Memorial and to go through the building museum and to learn about the tragedy that happened. Then after that, if we go to the next page, we depart for Dallas, arrive at dinner for Dave & Buster's, and that's the end of the first day, that Thursday. Next day, Friday, March 11th, we have breakfast in our hotel, and we actually get to go to another really cool historical museum. I'm surprised that they don't have a performance venue here, but the 6th Floor Museum at Daley Plaza that commemorates President John F. Kennedy. We'll be able to go through that, the JFK Memorial, be able to visit the grassy knoll throughout that time.
Perform on that.
What? That's what it would.
It's a wide open space.
There are a lot of very, very good musical pieces that commemorate JFK too. That's something that I'm honestly surprised they didn't put a performance opportunity there, so I might have to talk with them about that. Then after that, we would leave for the Dallas Arboretum and the Botanical Gardens. Leaving for lunch, we would go to the Medieval Times Fest. I did not know about this, but it's pretty much, if you've been to the Dixie Stampede, it's like that, but with jousting and knife fights. So I thought that would be really cool. Yeah, really good. Yeah, and it's like they advertise like the Queen and King's dinner and stuff like that. And then that would officially and that would officially end our second night at Dallas. The final night on Saturday, we would depart for Six Flags and spend most of our time there. We would have another performance opportunity for our high school band there. Hopefully we could play a little bit of some more southwestern music that gives you kind of the cowboy feeling. One that I'm really looking forward to is we're hoping that we can play the Magnificent Seven soundtrack down in their band show at Six Flags. We would spend the majority of our time there. After we performed, the kids would have their meals on their own, and they would go around the park for the time being. And then our final destination would be at Reunion Tower, the 360-degree panoramic views. And then we would depart that night for home, and we would be dropped off on Sunday at about 7 a.m. Or if we needed to, we could take an extra day, but that would just add to trip costs, so we figured that we would just drive through the night with that, so.
And this is for the high school only?
This is
That 9th through 12th grade?
Yes, this is for the high school concert band only, not the jazz band. It is for the high school band, no 8 through 5, none of that, so.
Okay,
How many students?
I'm estimating anywhere from the range of about 46 to 51, so it could go either into that $661 territory or that $685 territory. A lot of students aren't gonna drop band that second semester because they have that trip to look forward to, so. And we're doing pretty well with our retention numbers anyway, so.
Chaperones.
Yeah, we're thinking about 4 paid chaperones. Me, my wife are going, and then 4 of our band booster parents are gonna be going on the trip. Excuse
6
me,
adults.
yes, 6 adults.
Okay, so if I followed correctly, there's 2 opportunities for performance, is that
Mhm.
right?
Yes. And the itinerary is open for edits on this, so if we, like we had said that we were thinking about a performance at the JFK Memorial, cause I think that would be an excellent time, we could always add in an extra performance. This itinerary can be edited at any time before the trip starts, so if we wanted to add more to that, we could.
And they're looking good on their funding right now.
Yeah, a lot of kids have already half their trip paid for, it's really nice.
Cause they've worked since the last trip.
Yeah.
On raising money.
You know, with as crazy as this year has been, it's been very successful for fundraisers, especially with the ice cream fundraiser social and this 4-H social that we had. Not to mention hopefully we'll be able to have the Mass Band Festival, raise a couple funds there and sell a little bit more merchandise.
When's the fair date, is it like?
Fair date is on July 9th. They'll be getting together pretty soon for that. We'll have about a week of rehearsals before that, so. Yeah,
Sounds fun.
that's what I've got for you guys. I hope that
I'm tired just looking at it.
it's jam packed, but you know, my choir teacher, he always said it's better to be tired and to go through that and experience in that than just take a couple naps. But I'm gonna be tired by the end
It
of it
looks
too.
really fun. It looks, they deserve it. They work hard for it. I
Yes,
know.
they do. Thank you for that. We really appreciate that. So
And do the kids know about this?
Yes, the kids would-
Location, dates?
the kids were informed about this last school year that this would be the band trip destination and these. So yeah, it's been a lot of planning. So I'm really happy with how it turned out. I'm really happy that I could get educational tours to help me out with the planning of the trip because they did the majority of the work on the itinerary, and I got to pick some of the destinations they suggested. And Jody Atkins was the one that suggested Six Flags, and I'm really happy about that because I think the kids are gonna really enjoy that too. So lots of performance opportunities, a lot of historical learning, and lots of learning about the music that we're going to do because the music that we play at Dallas or at Oklahoma City will be the music we perform for their concert when we get back here as well, so.
Any other questions? I'd make a motion, we approve Mr. Nicholas's to proceed with the band trip plans.
Second,
All those in favor say aye.
I.
Aye. Look at that last
Do
thing.
it, Jay, I can't.
Thank you guys
is
so
this
much.
all us in favor say I knew? Yeah.
I thought we've always
No,
said
we've never said that. Thank you.
No, thank you so much.
Oh, we do that at
Time.
the county, that's what it is. And there's only 3 of us, so.
Great
Thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
See you guys
How do we
soon.
do
I
it?
got
Just
the
vote?
parade coming
We
up,
passed
so
it.
stop by.
All
We
right.
said aye, we all said aye.
Yeah.
Don't we always do that?
No, we just start voting, like Michael goes second, aye.
No wonder he's looking at me like I'm a cornball. I am sorry.
Alright,
So when you said all in favor, that's why I said it with, I thought we were all just gonna say it.
I'm sorry, excuse me. Forgive my craziness. I gotta remember where I'm at, where are we at?
Not too far away.
I'm at where am I at, like, I'm on, oh, shit,
Say,
say.
say it, so yeah. Well,
So I wanted to visit a little bit about the at-risk funding. That's kind of, it's not just concerning to us, it's concerning to all the school districts in the state. Because as you know, the government, they're paying for meals again this year for all students. So they're not requiring us to they don't even have a free and reduced lunch application.
is that for the whole
USDA.
school year, they've already announced it through the school year?
Yes, for the whole next school year.
Oh, wow.
So they're the ones that put out the free and reduced applications. It just so happens that Kansas funding is tied heavily to at-risk numbers that come from those free and reduced applications. And that isn't the case in every state, but it is the case in Kansas. So we're all superintendents are concerned about that. So KSDE came out with this little survey, it's called the Household Economic Survey, for us to fill out, that is kind of a, Patty, anytime if I say something incorrect, jump in. This is to replace that free introduced lunch
So
application.
this is a survey that we'd send out to the parents.
You can do this at any time, you can send it out, or a lot of people are putting it in their enrollment packets to fill this out and hopefully replace that form, and that's what KSD is gonna.
Are we still doing online?
We have online enrollment,
So will
which
this be available online?
this can be a part of that.
That would make it required.
We can't require it,
Can't require it.
Oh, okay.
but we need to incentivize it.
Yeah.
In my
Maybe ice
recommend,
cream.
Is this
Yeah.
the tech deal we talked about?
yeah, my recommendation, we have a $25 tech fee per student. And one of the things that we could do, is tie that tech fee to filling this out. And I thought that would be a pretty good incentive for parents to want to fill it out. We always have some parents who just say, that's nobody's business. I mean, these are confidential, but some parents don't wanna fill this out. And so, but if, we can't guarantee we're gonna have the information that we can take this and see if they qualify for free and reduced. And if they do qualify for free and reduced, then they can qualify for a card.
The PEBT card, which is a card, last year, I think, every student might have got $400, and this year, we did not qualify as a district because we were not remote at all. But our parents could qualify for summer since school has been out so much a day per child that they have, if they're free or reduced last school year. And that doesn't mean every student free, it's the ones who filled out the application or direct certified.
So would we qualify for that card this year?
During the summer months, it'll probably be July before I know anything. I have uploaded all of our students who do qualify. And they should be sending me out some kind of notification to send to those parents to register for their cards.
So really, the goal is that you need the at-risk or the students.
We need the students, or we need the parents to fill this out so that we
If I don't have one of those on hand
can't,
and they do this again next spring or next summer, if I don't have that paper in hand, they do not qualify.
So when does enrollment start?
You cannot send those out until after July 1st, anytime.
And they need them back by when?
I get them clear up through March, April, and
So it doesn't matter when these come back?
no, we need them back.
Sometimes we
Before
need those back
September.
before September 20th count date
Okay.
to help us with our at-risk funding.
It ties into our at-risk funding in our budget, and that's
So-
why we need them back.
Does the tech part of the enrollment have to be at the same time as enrollment? Or can we have a tech day and have them all come in on the same day to get their tech stuff and then tell them if they fill that out, we'll waive the tech fee?
Oh, is that your goal, is to waive the tech fee if they do this?
Yes,
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
So that's
part
my
of it.
point,
Okay.
if we could do all the online enrollment, still have everybody come into the school, if they can, if they can't, we can still make it available the other way. But if they can come into the school, we can have the library set up and have everybody
can't we
come
just
in
do it
and
online?
waive
we can
all the fees.
we can do it during enrollment
Yeah,
also.
Well, online, like,
Yeah.
why would they have to come in? Can't we fill that out online, figure out a way to make a form?
Well, if they're here, you know it's gonna get.
We can send this in the mail, we can do anything.
my problem with online is, where does that information go? In the past, we send it out in the packet in July. They get it, they fill it out, they bring it in, and I go through and I see if they qualify. I'm not real familiar with the online part, so where does that information go? Who else has access to see it besides me? Cause it's very confidential.
Right.
KSD is very concerned that as few people see these forms. I mean, everyone doesn't want their information out there just for anyone to see. So I don't know how the online would work, how would I get that application? That would probably be a question for Andy.
Who has access to the online enrollment information?
I was gonna say, I would hope that everything
Just
I put in for the
administration
online
and-
is confidential.
Anything.
Just our secretaries.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what I'm talking about.
We'd,
You put safeguards in, but anything could happen.
But probably 90% of the applications, I'm about the only one who ever sees them.
So again, if we do the waiving of the tech fee, they come in, they fill it out and they don't qualify for it, do we still waive the tech fee, would we not? It's not based on whether they qualify or not, it's more
Well,
based on the form.
that's a
or not.
discussion item. I mean, I just, whatever incentive we can
How
have,
many students do we have in total on average, usually, that pay $25 a year, 25 times how many?
Well, you have
just
what,
put just put
700.
700.
So that's $17,000 that we get in a tech fee. I'm assuming the funding we get from at-risk
Would
is
be a whole lot.
a whole heck of a lot more than
That's a
that.
drop in the bucket.
So I think it needs to go either way. If you fill this out, you don't have to pay the tech fee.
I agree.
And-
I
and
think that gets everybody.
You don't fill it out, you don't pay the tech fee. Oh, but wait, you don't qualify, but now you get to pay the tech fee. Isn't
I
probably
think
the
you
right way
waive
to
it
do it.
if they fill it out, and I think we make it available where they can come in here during enrollment, or even after enrollment, as long as they do it before September 20th,
a lot of
or
them just,
before the first day of
just
school.
drop them off on the first day of school.
I mean,
I usually get the bulk of them.
We've talked about it and I don't know, that seems to be the best way that we can incentivize people actually filling it out.
So, question, how do we let them know there's a $25 tech fee?
Just pay it in enrollment.
It's
Part of enrollment.
it's part of enrollment.
So if this form's there and it says clearly on there, if this form's filled out, there is no tech fee, then everybody will know that, regardless whether it's how they get it back to us.
There is a letter that I can attach with that, it comes from
Okay.
KSD telling you that if you, if it's a consent letter that, by filling this out, you would qualify for, ACT, getting chances of waiving the fee for that, your SAT. You can, put that your tech fee will be waived, and you can put that you would be eligible for the PEBT card if it becomes available. Those
So
are-
I guess my question is, if that's available, bless you, do we not think people, just like the free and reduce form, why wouldn't they fill this out?
There's a lot of people that will not fill
We have
it out.
trouble getting them to fill it out
Got it.
anyway.
Got it, I just didn't know
It's
that,
a challenge.
got
See
it,
that?
okay.
So would it be a waiver for all the kids in the family, or would it be, waive one because you're filling out one form?
So this says, do not complete this form if you are directly certified to receive free meals or if you have filled out a child nutrition program meals benefit application.
I get a list of those students, and usually in the
Direct
past,
certified
I don't
means
even
that
put
they-
an application
They
in their
automatically
envelope going home.
qualify.
So would we waive their tech fee?
Yeah.
Okay.
You would have to.
Right, that's what my question was. I knew I seen something on there I didn't
Because-
quite get.
If you qualify for that, you don't have to fill out any more paperwork.
So to explain this to a parent, the only reason they would fill this out is to see if they qualified for free or reduced lunch.
And not have to.
And we
pay
give
the
them, but that, you'd have to tell them that's what the form's for, is what
Yeah,
I'm
and that
asking. You
would
can't
be-
tell them, you fill this out, we're not gonna charge you a tech fee, we're not gonna tell you why you're filling it
That
out.
would be on a separate, on a
Right.
separate.
You get what I'm saying,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it's to qualify for free and reduced lunch, which
We
they're
should
gonna
put
get
a-
anyway, and that's
We put
the
a little
problem.
letter in there.
Is everybody getting free lunches again this year, is that what I understood?
Yes.
So this form, they could make it out however they want to, it wouldn't matter. Technically, cause everybody's getting a free lunch anyway.
I haven't gotten the guidelines yet from KSDE to show me, once you fill that form out, if this is your income or less, you're free, this is your income or
Right.
less, you're reduced. I have not seen that yet.
So
I just
you-
think policing, I don't know, you've paid, you haven't paid, you fill out the form, you didn't fill out the form, seems like a difficult.
Oh no, it's just part of our yearly routine.
Okay, I mean, that's fine, I mean, I just think having it available online, there has to be safeguards and restrictions put on there. I mean,
I'm
that seems
sure
like a
that-
pretty simple
I think that's probably doable.
task. I mean, I can't imagine that it's not.
And if we
something
got
we
till
can't figure it
September
out.
20th, we're gonna have a month while they're here to keep trying to get us on.
And you know,
Fill
I
it out.
send out reminders to those, that have been it in the past, please fill this out, or if they have not filled one out, I
Cause I think
send a mass.
just having him do it during enrollment, having it due during enrollment,
That's where I get the bulk of them, is
Yeah.
The reminder would be that they're paying the $25 fee. I mean, so do you,
I think
do you
that
not,
would be
when,
technically
that
more
fee's
hard.
due right away, right? It's due before they enroll?
Not before.
At enrollment.
Or when
At
they
enroll-
enroll.
When they enroll,
Right,
yeah.
okay.
I like the idea of doing an enrollment and just a discussion with Andy to see, hey, what's our options, to where it could maybe just be directed to you and make you feel better about the process.
yeah, make you comfortable, but I think there has to be.
A lot of the schools were and this is not, it's been stated that you cannot do this, is in order to move on through enrollment, you have to fill that out. Well, you can't do that. That's illegal.
So how do you work that if you waive the tech fee if you fill it out, but if people bring it in late, then what do you do? 'Cause
That's why they need to do it
technically
online.
If
have
they
to-
do it before September 20th, you could give them their $25.
You could always you could reimburse them.
Refund people or?
You could put, if this is paid prior to September, 10th, we'll waive the tech fee, and anything after that, you wouldn't have
That's
to.
why I asked when we collected the tech fee. Do we collect it before, or is it
It's
first month
during.
of school, or
You collect it during enrollment, don't you?
We collect them all year.
All year.
all year?
'Cause
Well,
some
yeah,
people
I
don't
mean, I
have-
understand, but
Okay.
as a bulk.
So you
collect
could
it
still be
at,
done in September.
enrollment.
The bulk of them are at enrollment.
But yeah, I would think, maybe with the free, no tech fee, maybe put a deadline maybe for that, to get them to get it in.
I don't know why you
So
can't
you
just
got it
do
before the
right.
20th of September, so you'd wanna
Yeah.
make that like the 10th or something?
No, August 15th, I mean, good grief, if you have to enroll your students, fill out the paperwork.
But many times, October 1st, I might get a dozen applications on October
Well,
1st, well, it's too
Then
late
they have
this
to pay their
year.
tech fee. I mean, I don't understand why.
It's too late for the benefit, though, as I recall here, a few years before most of you were on board, it was $180,000 we weren't authorized to use because of this.
Right, no, I think that's why it's important, I just don't understand why we can't hold our parents accountable to get it done during enrollment. I don't think we need to give them till September 15th and Patty's scrambling for 5 days to figure out how to get it all done.
And allow you to solicit for that, so
I don't know.
you can give an incentive, but you can't.
We're gonna give you a badge and a whip.
No, I don't know, I just,
I think it's good to put a deadline on it.
I think you're gonna have to, or you're gonna have a train wreck.
So are you thinking September 10th?
Refunds.
I would like a few days before September 20th to,
What does the 10th fall on?
can we just do, August 31st?
I don't know.
I don't, I mean, if people aren't paying the fee anyway, if the only way they can't pay the fee is if, but it sounds like they're not paying it sometimes.
The 10th is Friday,
The 27th is the last Friday of August.
so Memorial Day will be the first Monday.
September 3rd is that first Friday of September. So-
I'd like to go into September, cause a lot of them like to wait till after the 1st for payday.
Okay,
is when I catch
Labor
them.
Day would be September 6th.
Right, so if we went to the 10th, that gives them till
The
that
10th
Friday.
would, yeah, that would give me a
Yeah,
week.
the 10th is a Friday.
If you want the incentive, you'll hit the deadline.
So if they
Should
fill
be an
this
emotion
out,
for
return
that.
it by
Yeah, I just
September
didn't know
10th,
what the
we'll waive
motion was
the
gonna
tech
be,
fee.
so we need a motion, but I didn't make one.
what about families that don't typically fill it out because they don't think they will qualify or don't, so now Patty's armed with all this confidential information from every parent out there, I mean, I think that seems a little,
And those parents that don't want me to know how much they make, they're just gonna pay their tech fee,
just throwing that out there, I mean,
Yeah.
there are gonna get people that just pay their
Because
taxes.
Oh,
if
it's
you
not
fill it
gonna be, exactly, it's not
Probably-
If
gonna
you
be-
fill it out and you don't qualify,
They're
you're
not
gonna
gonna
get the
qualify.
free tech fee, but you will still not be free or reduced. 'Cause I
Right.
would have to put you as a full paid.
I just wondered for those families, okay.
Any other questions? I'd make a motion, we waive the tech fee for everyone that fills out the household economic survey. And it has to be filled out and sent in by September 10th, 2021. Second.
Aye.
Aye,
Yeah, I didn't say that.
Yeah, Mike here.
good job. Mike's back, we could do it correctly.
Corey,
preschool play area.
Okay, I'm gonna let Mrs. Paul kind of talk about this. This is something that we're kind of in need of.
Well, when we first started to have our 4-year-olds on campus, we thought, okay, the tan equipment is fairly simple, it's enough for kindergartners and 4-year-olds, but now that we have 3-year-olds, there's a big difference between 3 and 4-year-olds. And some of our 3-year-olds can't even get on our tan equipment because they're so small. So Mr. Hutton knows that one of my goals before I leave this position is to redo somehow, some way our playground. Well, this is a start right here, so I'm so excited about this. But this playground equipment would be specifically for our preschoolers and our kindergartners. And we're working with Matt Klein, who's actually, his company's name is on here, but it's really through Greenbush is what we're looking at it from, isn't
They
that
have
right,
the
Mr. Hutton?
procurement agreement, they're the state bid winners for playground.
And so he came down and the day after school was out and Mr. Hutton and I met with Matt and he kind of gave us an outline and gave us a bid and told us what it would look like, how long it would last, all of that information is provided in your packet. But if you know where the blue equipment is, this would be located right west of the blue equipment, right before you get to the lazy river and the drain.
The lazy river.
That's what we call it. the lazy river.
Rightfully so.
You need a plaque and a sign, or a post. Lazy
And
river.
Matt even went, if you look on this page, Matt kind of gave you an outline of what each part of the equipment would actually be. He did have it, so it's ADA accessible. Not that we have anyone right now with that situation, but we could, and it's always important that we have that available for our students. He did have it bid, I believe, with wood chips in there, which I'm not real thrilled with that, but it's gonna be what it is,
Versus like the rubber.
yes. Yes,
Rubber.
but the rubberized, it's very, very expensive.
Rubber mulch isn't expensive, but rubber, poured rubber is.
So is this like a state contract bid? Is that what this is when I look at the Greenbush contract?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yeah, state, otherwise we'd have.
And so the last page is what the quote is and everything that would be included in it, and everything that's included would be the border, the filler, the equipment. The one thing that we would have to do as a district, and our custodians are gonna end up doing this, would be unloading the equipment off the truck when it comes in. This probably would not be actually in place until sometime in September, because they are so backlogged on things that they've had to get done. And so he said it would probably be sometime in September that it would be able to get finished, so.
So Dana, where would the 14 rubber mats go?
Well, when it rains, it's like a mud pit underneath our swings. So our kids actually swing with their feet up so they don't hit the puddles. So these would go right where the swings are underneath the swings, so there should not be any puddles anymore.
Okay.
In addition to the
So
little
this
pre-K.
wouldn't be
Right.
part of this then, okay.
Yeah, it is actually part of this, you'll see the
Just an
rubberific
addition.
mats.
It's an addition.
Okay, so the swings don't show up.
So
And then
Yeah,
do
the
the
swings aren't
pre-Kers,
part of it, but
do
it's
they
the mats
swing
underneath the swings.
each year,
Two on the swings.
The
Those
little
swings
ones.
do- yeah, are those
They
swings too
do,
big?
but those swings are preschool appropriate if they're next to that tan equipment, if you're looking at those swings.
Uh-huh.
Now, the ones that are on the west side of the playground, no, they don't go over there, they just
Got
can't.
it, yeah.
each,
I haven't been back there in a while, I just think, yeah.
each year we bring in extra mulch and it's
Where the
level the
swings are.
mulch, level it all up. And what happens is the kids drag their feet through those things.
It just makes
just makes a
Yeah.
hole. And the rubber mats will keep that from happening.
So the obvious question is, will there be a fence that goes around this to keep the other kids out? How do you control who's in there? I mean, to keep you're saying it's for kindergarten and
We tell them,
preschool.
we
And
say,
they listen.
this equipment is only for preschool and kindergartners. We've said that about the tan equipment at noon recess, and our kids are they're pretty rule savvy about that. They
That's
cannot
great.
be on that tan equipment unless they're in a certain age group. They cannot be on the blue equipment unless they're in 1st through 5th grade, I mean, and they know it. So they try and trip you, or they ask you about that, but our playground supervisors and teachers are pretty diligent about that rule.
You can't go down the tornado slide until the last day of kindergarten.
You're right.
True
It's
story.
a rite of passage.
It is.
It's kind of a passage, right?
So the access wedges, we'll have how many of those?
Just the one coming off of asphalt.
So they're just, like the wheelchairs.
Right,
Just the one, I think.
it's just the one.
As far as assembly goes, is that gonna be the custodians that will?
They do, they'll assemble it. We have to unload it, but they'll come in and assemble it.
We will not carry it.
What about
but we will screw it together.
the pole sets and all that? Will that be done prior or will that be done the day of assembly? Cause you're gonna have to put,
I don't know that, Corey. We didn't get that far.
it's like that ladder, for example, it's gonna have to go into the ground and all those poles and the slide pole will have to go into the ground itself to be stable.
He didn't really tell us how long it was gonna, I mean, it's not a one-day did he tell
Right,
you?
no, he didn't.
I don't,
I'm assuming it's at least a week. I mean, he did say we would probably have to fence off that area to keep our
It-
kids out.
The general part of the playground will get assembled pretty quickly, but I think if there's a way to set, if they can send those support poles earlier, you could have those kind of set prior to their arrival, I would think, but I mean, they
I
do
really
it now,
don't.
I feel like they do
so
this.
however they wanna do it is.
I think I wouldn't want our
I mean-
people to do it for warranty and guarantees and all that good stuff, liabilities.
I mean, this is what this company does, this is what they do, so I'm
Right, and
assuming
it's
they
all,
know
and all
exactly
this has
what's
been
going
done
on.
through Greenbush, it's all met all the
Right.
state approvals and all that.
I would actually bet it probably would just take them a day to do this.
It probably won't take
Very
very long.
long. I mean, I'm
I'm excited.
like an 8-hour day, I mean,
If you look at our other equipment out there, and it, from the road, you drive by and it looks really nice, to me. But it's really aged, and it's really, and if you've been out, some of you have been around it, you can see that some of it's in pretty bad shape. Some of the pieces aren't there anymore because they've rusted or whatnot. And it's something that I know Dina's been wanting to do the playground for some time, so I think the rest of it is in the near future.
What would we do
That's-
with the
I
old
mean-
equipment?
They'll tear it off. I don't know. You wouldn't
Purple
wanna
wave
sell it.
or- No,
No, I don't think so, cause it's a liability issue. I don't know that 100%, Jay.
right.
Yeah,
honestly.
they can scrap pieces maybe, but
It's probably
I don't think they
it's
can
probably
take it.
junked. Like I said, while it really looks nice from the road, there's a lot of rust that's coming through, the rubber coverings are gone on parts of it, so it's something we're gonna have to address, and it's not cheap, as you can tell. This is a little big set.
A little big
And
set.
what fund would this come out of?
This one, we're looking at our mobilizing literacy, we had some extra COVID money for it, so it's not a capital outlay. But it fits in with our preschool program, so I think we just don't have any preschool equipment. And that's where it all
Yeah.
came,
What
our
year-
preschoolers don't have a lot.
What year are we in now, the preschool program?
Well, we just are
Third year,
starting up
fourth
the preschool program,
That we moved in?
Fourth.
Third,
We've
fourth
had-
year?
third,
We've had the one preschool
I think this is our third
a
year.
long time, but this is gonna be our 2nd year of having 3-year-olds. Is that right? And
Third.
3rd year of having 4-year-olds
Yeah.
all in our building.
On the old playground equipment, how old is it, you know?
He's here before I came. I don't know anybody.
Old,
Very, very old.
ancient, antique.
I don't know when
That swing set on the west side, that swing set has been there since I was a student here.
I was just gonna ask if it was here when you were
That's
there.
a long
So,
time.
10 years ago maybe, I don't know.
I don't
That's been a
know.
long time.
Ask.
40+ years.
I mean, it's
Not gonna ask.
well over 20 years, whatever's out there is well over 20 years old, so.
I'm just curious. Yeah,
Any other questions?
It'll be passed on.
That's awesome.
So you need a motion for that, right?
Yes.
So you just wanna approve the amount or just proceed? We already know how much it is, right?
Yeah.
So
I
I
would-
make a motion that we purchase the preschool kindergarten play set for $21,884 for the playground.
Second, aye.
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 Our preschoolers will be thrilled. Thank you.
PDC activity report.
Okay, that's, give you a copy of that. That's every year, we just approve the yearly PDC committee's report. Just goes through the number of participants. There's 62 total participants. We spent $8,367, which was way down this year, I think, primarily because it was COVID. But that's just a report that we need to approve each year.
It's normally around 23,000, so.
Anybody have any questions on that? We're making a motion to approve the PDC report as presented by the PDC council and updated USD 420 guidelines.
Second, aye.
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 Milk bids.
Our local milk company closed up, which that was Highland Dairy, I guess, Osage County Highland Dairy. So we are needing to bid out our milk like we do every year, but they're not an option. If you look through those two bids, one's from Highland Dairy, the other one's from Evco. We cannot do firm pricing anymore. Neither of these companies do that. So it'd be my recommendation to
Big
approve.
difference between the two, isn't it? Especially on orange juice.
Yeah,
Did we get a copy of this? Am I missing it?
it's in here.
It was in my email.
Yeah.
Yeah, the BOE
The
explanation.
biggest change would probably be Highland at the end of Christmas break, spring break, and at the end of the year, they will buy back any stock that we have. Evco will only buy 2 cases back for the year, so.
One of the big advantages of the local dairy was they would deliver 3 times a week. These companies only will deliver twice, so you have to have storage, which we have. So it's not a big problem, but
And Highland changes monthly, Evco changed weekly. And Highland's out where?
They're at Forbesfield.
So is that who part of the Osage Dairy was there? Cause I thought that was not Osage Highland or something.
I think Osage Dairy went there and purchased their
Okay.
products.
Anybody got any questions on that? I'd make a motion we approve the 21-22 milk bid from Highland Dairy as presented.
Second, aye.
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 Handbook revisions, classified handbook.
okay, those were sent out. The high school handbook revision, middle school handbook revision, and then the 3 for the classified. I'm not gonna read through them unless there's a question.
I forgot mine.
They're right there.
So when we're talking about the fields of the football game or whatever, are we talking about they're gonna stay behind the fence?
Stay away
Yes.
from the activity, yes.
Behind the fence?
Yeah, they would be on site.
So no track, no field, no nothing? What was our old policies on this thing? Or was it one?
There wasn't
That
one.
right.
In the coach's handbook, there was a statement that, pertaining to this, that only high school students were to be managers. And so, And what we considered managers were kids who were traveling on the bus that were, participating, doing management type works from a day in and day out. Going to practice, leaving school early, things like that. But then when we talked about that during the school year, then there were some feelings that it should be probably more than that because of liability issues.
So, I'm gonna use football as an example. We're not gonna have a ball boy.
And they'd have to be a high school student.
In case it won't cover, is that what I'm saying?
That's right. Really, a lot of that came to light because COVID, when we talked about what managers were, and they got the tickets and they were considered participants, and that really came to light this year what a participant was. And so that's when the question was, if they're a participant of a high school activity, they need to be a high school student, and they're not covered by CASA unless they are a high school student.
Everybody that the payday deal reflects that we've contacted them, tell them what's going on.
I will send them all out notices. It will not start until September, but all I need is a 30-day notice to all employees. So,
That's only, you're only talking about a
I
couple
say
of
that's just for
classified
everything's gonna
staff.
be direct deposit, right? So there won't be any handwritten checks.
yeah, I have a lot of people that hang on to their checks for months and months, and so, they have a
I know that feeling.
they have a 90-day day, so then we have to, cancel the check, issue another one.
Anybody have any questions on any of this? I'd make the motion to approve the handbook changes as presented for the 2021 school year in the student handbooks, classified staff handbook, and a crisis plan.
Nay. Aye.
Three Lakes report.
Our meeting's next week.
Okay,
Well,
that was a
or
quick one.
together.
Recreation report.
We started youth baseball, softball at the end of May, and everything's going really well. T-ball, this year I have 57 kids at T-ball, which is the most that I've had the last probably 5 or 6 years, so
How many?
57, and 80% of them are 4-year-olds. So it's going to be a big kindergarten class coming in. Yeah, they had their first T-ball games last night and then tonight, so there was a lot of people over there, that's for sure, watching those games. Pool opened the weekend of Memorial Day. I call it kind of a slow opening because of the weather. It was pretty chilly those first few days. Everything's going well now. Swim team has, or will have between 50 and 60 kids in it. Letitia DeBond is the main head coach for that, and then several of the upper level guards help out. Water aerobics started this week on Tuesday and Thursday. Marcy DeWitt is the water aerobics instructor. And then there'll be youth football camp, kind of the middle of July. And that's about it, I guess, right now.
Administrative reports.
I'll go real quick. Just not a whole lot obviously going on at school right now. But honor roll did come out. 17 students are on the Board of Education honor roll. That's 4.0. So 17 students achieved that. 54 students were in the superintendent's honor roll, which was 3.51 to 3.99. And then the principal's honor roll was 3.0 to 3.5. And so a total of 122 students were on an honor roll list. And that's 59, almost 60% of our students making an honor roll list. So kids did a really good job this year, and you know, with all the diversity and having that kind of a number has been a great thing. Football jamboree will happen again next year, or this coming year, August 27th. Northern Heights will host that. It'll be Mission Valley, Olpe, Northern Heights, and Osage City. And that is the same day as Meet the Indians Night, so they'll do the jamboree and still get back here in time to do the Meet the Indians Night. Flint Hills Tech next year, I'll have 5 kids going to Flint Hills Tech, 5 kids, Washburn Tech, 23 kids. So Flint Hills Tech, there'll be 4 new kids and 1 returning. Washburn Tech, there's 23 students going, 18 new students and 5 returning. So those are good numbers for our tech kids, and that's been a big plus for our district and our students. And that's all I have unless you have questions.
Middle school, again, not a lot going on since the end of school, but promotion, we had that, it went well. Set a new record for time, I think, which was good because the gym was a little hot that evening.
It was so hot.
But I could sell that as that's why we need the new HVAC that we're getting, so that was a good thing. Honor roll came out, we had 142 out of our 184 students make one of the 3 honor rolls, that's 77%, so they did a great job on that this year. And state assessment results came out, and all our state assessment results were above the state average, so we did real well on those also. That's all I have.
And for the elementary, our Summer Stars program, we have 54 students that'll be attending our summer school program starting June 28th, so we're pretty excited about that. That's about 20% of our kids, so that's good numbers. That's all I have.
Man, those were quick. Till we're not in school. I'd move we go into executive session to discuss potential certified positions, classified positions, and supplemental position pursuant to the non-elected personnel exception under coma. And the open meeting will resume in the board room at 8:33 with the administration to be present.
Second.
Aye.
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 Can I just say we're extending? Or do I have to
Yeah.
make a whole motion again?
I think you can just extend. She'll,
$15?
yeah,
I'm just gonna go $8.50, how's that, maybe 7 months.
did I get all these or not?
I think, he still got his or not.
I have mine.
We're back in open session, I will make a motion, we extend the executive session until 8:50.
Second,
Aye.
Alright, we are back in open session. All of these, right?
Yes.
Can I read them all together, can I not?
You can make one motion if you want.
I'd make a motion that we approve Chandra Dunbar as the high school science teacher, NHS sponsor for the 2021-22 school year. Tracy Watkins as assistant high school cross-country coach for the 21-22 school year. Can't get used to that 21-22 yet. Approve Carly Spicer as head high school softball coach for 21-22 school year. And approve Travis Blue as a high school Stuco for 2021-22 school year.
Second,
Aye.
Aye.
I would make a motion, we go into executive session to discuss negotiations topics pursuant to the exception for employer-employee negotiations on the coma, and the open meeting will resume in the boardroom at 9:10 with administration present.
second,
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. action taken, I would move we go into executive session to discuss potential real property pursuant to the exception for preliminary discussion and the acquisition of real property under coma, and the open meeting will resume in the boardroom at 9:15 with the administration to be present.
Second,
Aye.
I
Aye.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Aye.
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 And we all say, all 3-year-olds.